was formed in a very dark time where no one knows how did it come to power.
Roger Bismuth, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
But I always ask myself a question: do the minorities really do something to show up themselves? Most of the time they don't. You see, for example, now, the first time we have in Tunisia Islamist government. I went to the government to talk with him, to fight with it, and we became friends. I don't know that I will succeed to make him change direction, but you have to go and you have to join forces.
Okay.
And you say, I'm a victim, you get nowhere. You cannot be a victim all your life.
I'm very concerned by the Syrian situation, and I'm very afraid also because I don't see that we are going through a good solution until now. I think the only thing we can do now, and we are trying to do, is to open any kind of mediation and dialogue between the different components of the Syrian society. We are already thinking about the post-conflict period, because the conflict period, we are all losing any kind of influence on it, and this is why it's
okay, let me just go back to the questioner briefly. Do you hear anything that comforted you? Because you've done a lot of work on this area, haven't you?
I have, but I'm just thinking, what do you tell the majority after Assad is gone and the Alawis are still there, the Christians are still there, who either were there when Hama happened, they ordered it, or they stood by and watched, or stood by and clapped? I mean, these are a huge support base for the Assad dictatorship right now, is the minority groups. The majority is not going to forget easily that they're co-citizens from other religions. They weren't just collaborators. I mean, they were actively oppressing them. They're the ones supporting Assad right now. That's not something to be forgotten easily. What do you do when Assad's gone and those people are, as the conflict goes on, people get more and more entrenched. There's no turning back now. The Christians are unlikely to defect. Neither are the Alawis in any kind of collective, large-scale way. So, I mean, what happens? You can have tribunals and mediation and all that, but we don't really have a culture of that in the Arab world. So how do you convince them they're going to be protected?
It's a situation of a civil war. That's why I'm very concerned, and it's not so easy to deal with such situation. It is really a civil war in Syria now, I think, and again, the only thing we can do is to fight these stereotypes and to give a more political aspect of the conflict and less religious aspect or less communal aspect of the conflict. This is also one thing we can do, is to promote that there are Christians on both sides and Muslims on both sides and Alawites on both sides. Maybe, of course, there are kind of majority on this side or on the another, but it's to tell people that it's a political conflict and it's not, of course, a communal conflict, and this will ensure the possibility of living together in the future.
Okay.
But it's a very serious situation.
Okay, in a moment we're going to go to the vote. Before we do that, I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give us just one sentence to crystallize their views and to send you off with their final message before you do vote. One sentence, Lord Carey. We'll start with you and we'll go around in a semicircle. Okay.
If you vote for the motion, you're voting for change. You're voting for a hope that this historic Middle East, so rich in oil, in history, in language, can be once again a powerful place. And so you're voting for a Middle East is going to welcome others.
One sentence.
Where human rights will exist. So vote for change.
About 8 sentences. Can you be more economical?
Yes,
Ahmed,
I will. If you vote for the motion, it means you're saying Arab governments have to do something to protect their fellow citizens for the sake of honesty, justice, and also protect their own countries from foreign interference. Sort out your home before someone has to sort it out for you.
Okay, Roger Bismuth. One sentence, please.
If you fight against the motion, I will agree with you, but vote for being action, but in a positive way. Against in a positive way.
Do you understand that? Fadi Daou.
Since I'm the only one now against the motion, so I will remind you that dignity was the key word of the Arab Spring and not minority. And this is why the new regimes are challenged now in their capacity to embrace diversity and to promote an inclusive citizenship. That's why I vote against the motion.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to vote on the motion, the much disputed motion. This House believes Arab governments should take urgent measures to protect religious minorities. Let me just explain how those voting machines work. If you want to vote for the motion, that is the side represented by those on my right, you're going to need to press button 1 in a moment. If you want to vote against the motion, the side represented by those on my left, it's button 2. Whichever button you want to press, would you please do it now? There's the result. That's it, 72% for the motion, 28% against the motion has been resoundingly carried. All it remains for me to do is to thank our distinguished speakers for coming here tonight. Thank you to you, the audience, as well, for your questions. The Doha Debates will be back again next month. Till then, from all of us on the team, have a safe journey home. Good night. Thanks for coming. Good night. Good night.